Hey there, my name is Rick, and we're continuing on in this different journey now, slightly different journey of getting Wordle running, but this time using this funky language, this funky library called ncurses. In past 17 sessions, all here on YouTube, we implemented a version of Wordle. Quite complicated because of the word list that we use, but we're gonna come back to that. What we're doing now is adding a front end to it that, let's see, we're adding a front end to this that is going to allow us to play in the terminal, but using a interface that looks an awful lot like the UI that you play with on your mobile, or on the Times website. So we're going to do all of that in the next few sessions, but it actually isn't too bad. In the previous session, I talked about ncurses and how we can use this library because it can draw directly on the terminal in a somewhat graphical fashion. We can use this to actually implement a UI for the game. I've since come to find out that this is kind of a this is known also as a TUI, text user interface, TUI. But we're going to implement this TUI for our CLI using ncurses, but I didn't want to write the program or rewrite the program in C. Let me get the program running here. Did I not? I didn't want to re-implement the game in the C computer language. Although, yes, last session I said, why not? It's but because the goal, my ultimate goal, is to learn Swift better and to learn SwiftUI so I can write user interfaces for the Mac. And this is a step in the journey because I've been curious about ncurses and curses in general, but I just never, bizarrely, I've never programmed in it in all of my years working in C. All my programs have just been utility programs. So the last several hours since the end of the session, since the end of the previous session and for parts of my day today, I've been hacking away at a version of, at an ncurses version of this Wordle CLI that we have here in the design. So we have here this basic design, and in a separate program, I've implemented this. There it is. I'm going to demonstrate how it works a little bit. Now, Isn't that pretty cool? It does not work, meaning these colors are completely random. It also, again, it doesn't play the game, but this enabled me to see whether Curses was able to do it, and I knew it could, but I hacked together a version of this over the span of a couple of hours here and there during my day. Let me put in a few more 5-letter words. Now, I'm going to bring in this this is a separate executable, but I want this to be in our project also, even though it's even though our project is a Swift project. So I did go down a digression. I took a look at, if I close these tabs, one of the things I noticed was this structure, or the package file. And here is where we get to describe what this package is about. And this package is a little bit, it's always murky to me. What exactly is going on here? When I dug around on the internet, I found this. So I'll put this into our Slack here. Did I just say Slack? I'm going to put this into our chat. What this GitHub page describes is the package manager. It shows how to configure a Swift package, and this project, the Swift package manager, it might as well, it actually should be this, but that first link was still helpful. But you can get to it from this. Was it this? Yeah. Maybe it was this. Yeah. When you read this, and I skimmed through it, when you read this, you find that you can actually implement multiple executables inside of your package. So I set about to do that. I thought that you could maybe do it by adding a new source here. Like if I added a folder here, like make a new folder. Let's call it ncurses-mock. I thought that maybe I thought that Xcode would take care of adding this as a separate target. Didn't really do that, and come to find out that you have to manually add these things per the documentation here. So what that means is I have to add a new executable target here, and I think it turns out you can have it's interesting there's only one here, but you can have more than one. So you can have these different executable targets. Defines multiple products. So what that led me to was something like this. And one of the things I noticed is that Xcode was helping me fill out this package file, this package.swift file. So I'm going to continue filling this out. The target of this is called, I'm going to say ncurses-mock. And the syntax, see, these targets are in an array, but the syntax is this various and it's like this chained object with commas in between. It's a little, I haven't dug into it deeply to figure out all of the details, but when I added this line and I try to do a Swift build back in my project, so this is the Wordle CLI. If I do a Swift build, we're gonna come to this in a second. It shows that, hey, there's source files missing. Source files for the target ncurses-mock should be located under ncurses-mock, and we have that here, ncurses-mock, but we don't have a source file. So what I'll do now is just copy in the source files from that other project that I have. And we can take a look at this. There are two of these things here. So it's sources. Now you should see this. A C file and a header file. Now I'm going to show you the C program, but we're going to come back to actually let me continue the finish of the package manager. If it effectively copied in or imported these two source files, I need to build this. But watch what happens when I build it. Says that there's no Target EXE in the build description. Basically, it doesn't know what to do here. Executable target name ncurses-mock. So what we need to do is build this file. How do we tell it how to build? And I spent a lot of time looking at this. If we go into the sources ncurses-mock, we need we need a compiler to do this, and it's not the Swift compiler, it's the C compiler. We'll need to do something like this: mock1 .c, and we need to pass in a library. And when we do this, what we get is a binary, a.out, and that's the binary that we were running earlier with this simple program. So how do we tell our program to build this? I'm gonna go back all the way, and I'm gonna say Swift build ncurses-mock. Oh, actually, I'm surprised it copied it. Wait, you see that at Swift, believe it or not, it actually tried to build this thing, but it had problems finding the library that it needed to do, that library that we had here, the ncurses library. So it seemed as if we need to specify the library, but how did it know what to do? I think Swift knew what to do because it was a .c extension. It knew that this was a C program. I mean, Xcode knows it's a C program. So we can, I think, verify this by doing Swift -v build. With Swift build -v, and we can, when we look at this, maybe a little hard to read, but this is using the Swift C compiler. Actually, that's somewhat of a surprise to me. I thought it would grab the C compiler. That's a little bit of a surprise to that's a little bit of a surprise to me, what I've just shown you. I thought that we would see here a C compiler run, but this is definitely a technical detail, one that Swift hides from you. You have to go looking for it with the verbose switch, which is what I used with the -v switch. But let's just attack the error. If I put -v, so it says -v. It gave us all these details, and it may be interesting to look at those details. But what about these errors here? It's clear that what we need to do is specify a library. And there are ways to specify the library inside of the Swift, inside of the package Swift. And it's not this one, believe it or not. This is bringing in a library from outside. That's what we're doing. But we need to bring in a library when we're compiling. And that one ends up looking like this. LinkerSettings. I'll admit that some of this made sense to me only because I've spent time programming in C, spent a long time programming in C, and the phase where we're building the executable is known as the link phase. We compile our C files into objects, and then we link those objects into an executable with any libraries that it needs. So to specify the library, we need to specify this linker setting. So I take the linker setting and I put it here in my executable. Executable target. It expected, here we're paying close attention to Xcode. It's expecting a list, an expression in list of expressions, and here it's actually should be complaining about it, but it's not. But it is expecting one, and we can make the list empty, but it still won't solve the problem. We'll we'll go and do the Swift build again. Yeah, see, still having a problem with linking this C program that we built, that we have, and this one was the hard one. I saw that we needed an array of linker settings, and when I looked for this array of linker setting singular, I find that it's a struct, and it's a struct that consists of a reference to a library. And how do we get this though into Package.swift? Well, I just follow it along. If I do the Control and space, I'm able to get a list of candidates in the autocomplete, and this is what I'm looking for: LinkerSetting.linkedLibrary, and this linked library is what it's looking for here. And now we just give it the name of the library. It's ncurses, and the rest of it we can just leave. Or we don't need to specify the condition. Now that this is available, I wonder now if I'll be able to, yeah, I'll be able to run this thing. Let's see what happens if I run it here. I was hoping it might I'm looking around for maybe a window that where it might be displaying it. It might be, oh yeah, it's displaying it possibly here. Yeah, not there. This is definitely a limitation of Xcode in that it may not be able to play the game or display the curses based game here. I'm gonna have to work on this, but I'm gonna cancel this execution and I'm gonna run this now, or I'm gonna build and run this in the terminal. Now when we say run, it's going to say you're going to have two choices, and I pick ncurses-mock. And there's our C program right inside of the same project that we have our Swift program in. Now this is a mock-up. This is just for us to, it was just for me to hack together some commands and a simple program just to see how we would do this game with ncurses. So I'm just gonna put in just a few words here just so that you get the feel for what I'm doing. Coast, lives, labor. So at this point we can go and commit this, but let's commit this in a second. The stuff that we have to commit is actually a bunch. We're going to commit the design file that we had, and then the source files, and then the package.swift. But before we do that commit, really what I'm going to do now is just spend a few minutes talking a little about this program, mock thing here, and I think I want to see if I can do, no, that didn't work the way I thought it would. Nope. Yeah, there we go. I saw this on another person's YouTube. They were able to crank up the font, and it'll make it a little easier to read this C program. This is just my mouse now, and here we can close this too. So it's been a while since I programmed in C, but C is an incredibly easy language at its core. That said, it may take a while to get used to this, because really all I was doing was just be in hack mode. Yesterday, when we were looking through the ncurses documentation, we saw that there were some functions that we had to get used to. These functions here, when you look at their quick help, wow, no quick help? Let me check this one. Okay, let me check the definition. Let's see, it should at least find its definition. Yeah, so here, we're inside of a big, gigantic header file. Curses and user include. You can see it's the minimap here. And there's not going to be a lot of help in here, but these functions are the ones that are described in this how-to. How do we use ncurses? So, but I think now I'm going to commit this code and it'll be in the project in GitHub so you can see this for yourself. This YouTube stream is me programming in a variety of languages, but this series is about Swift, so we won't be in C for very long, just really today, and we'll refer to this code, but we won't really update it together. But this just shows a little bit of what's involved with making that user interface. As you might imagine, these numbers here in move print W, these numbers here are coordinates. They represent coordinate space on the screen. And I grabbed the Keynote and I made a little piece of graph paper here using a table. Just grabbed a table and made it really small. This table is 40 characters wide and 24 characters high. That is the half of the width of a normal terminal, a default terminal. But this allows us to, or at least allowed me to imagine it. And on a second piece of graph paper, I started to draw the UI a little bit. And when you look at the move print, it's saying, hey, go to location 3,3. This is in YX format. And they make this clear in the ncurses documentation, meaning it is the height first and then the width. So if we go to 3, that's actually this element here. Now, this is just a table inside of Keynote. If you just count with numbers, again using 0 as the first index, this is 0, 1, 2, 3 for the Y, and this is 0, 1, 2, 3 for the X. So here is where we draw Wordle-CLI, and then we put my name here, and then that's it. Then we go down 2 lines and we move over 8 blocks. This is pixel programming. So we move down 2 lines, 1, 2, and then we move over 8. 1, 2, it's actually the 8th index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's roughly that. Let's run this again to be sure. It won't be super apparent in the game, but yeah. So I'm off in my graph here. To do this, I will do something like X, and then I will put it here, and I will do something like this. Now, this is, again, this was just for me to think it through, but really all I needed to do was print this, and the rest I did just by a little bit of math in my head. It wasn't too bad. We're just going down the lines, we're going across the screen, and we're printing things. Now, savvy watchers will notice that I'm got this thing here, this label, and then I use it later in a GOTO statement. Now, I'm sure your parents told you, don't use GOTO in your programs. I certainly bought into that message, but I was just hacking. So this clearly would be a loop where it calls a function, but I'm just repeating this over and over again. We're not gonna, I don't think Swift has a GOTO, but this runs through 6 times and it implements the prompt. The prompt uses getStir to grab a string, and then it prints that in row 17. So as you see, I no longer needed this to see what I was doing. I just began to see how to implement it here, entered crust, and the code is here for you to look at. This is of course not Swift, but I'm going to now convert it to Swift. But how do I do that? I'm not going to do that in this session. But I am going to point us to this library here called Curses by the coder Merlin. It's a little old, hasn't been updated, but I'm hoping it's still functional. It provides a Swift object wrapper for the Curses programming library. It's an old project, but I checked to see if maybe I checked to see if maybe somebody might have built on this project. And how did I do that? I think, was it Insights? Yeah, forks. There are 14 forks, and normally these are other developers who take over a project and build something new. Everyone knows about projects that have had incredible changes done in the fork of those projects, but this one is the most recent active fork, and that was recent as of 2 years ago. I wonder if I can go back 5 years. Yeah, so not a lot of activity, but in the next session, Monday, I'm gonna go and get this library. I probably will have gotten it already, and try to implement it some more, or try to use the library. If I go back to the code, I think I'm going to have to get into the package.swift and bring this in and import the curses. So yeah, so first let me go and do that now, and then, but I want to commit this code that we just had. Okay. And I'm gonna play this game. Just grab it here. So we have that. Now, what I'm going to do next is just bring in the see what happens if I follow the instructions. Package application dependencies. So the dependency will be, this package will depend on curses. And it's from 1.0.0, but I thought that Coder Merlin had something newer, 1.05. So let's pay attention to that. I've not done this before, so let's see what we get. You see it's doing this resolving and fetching. So it's doing stuff right here. It's doing stuff. Cloning, curses, checking it out. Oh boy, I wish there could be a record of all this. Now there's an error. Let's see what they say. Aha, excellent. The dependency curses is not used by any target. So, and here's some of the messages from the logs that I was looking to see. So, doing this update here automatically brings down all of this code. Where it puts it, I don't know, but I'm gonna guess one of the things I notice about Swift packages is even though this looks pretty empty, it's just our source files, there's a massive amount of hidden directories here, including this .build business. And if I do ls-ltr build to see all the files listed in reverse timestamp order, we see some new stuff here. I'm gonna guess it's in this x86 business. No, maybe not. Debug. No. Yeah, I wonder, where did it drop those files? Maybe Swift.pm? I don't think it's in .git. That's the Git directory. No. Well, I'm gonna dig into it and figure out where this is at some point, but it's not really material. It should be in here. How do we do that? How do we know that? Well, we can build another executable, and this time I think this will work. If I do Wordle CLI, if I do ncurses-mock, I feel like renaming this, but if I do SwiftCurses-mock, no, I gotta come up with another. It might be a little confusing. We could solve it by having readmes here, but let's just go for it. I don't want to name it test, even though really what we're doing is testing. If I do a new file, see, did this update SwiftCurses-mock? Let's do this. I'm going to name this mock 2. If I go to package, how remarkable, it's not here. I wonder if it's because I edited this file. But let me now package.resolve. What's that business going on here? I wonder if I should commit this to the repository. But if I go into Swift, I don't like the, I'm gonna have to figure out this template business, but here I can say import curses. There it is, just like the documentation said it would be. And I'm gonna do, I know there should be something here to let me read a character. Keyboard doesn't have this, but it's this, so I'm just hacking together a brief demo. Print something to the screen, so wow, good. The syntax is going to be a little laborious, I can already tell. Yeah, new windows, that's a feature in ncurses. guess I got to do a lot to get stuff to happen. There's that exit. One of the things that I'm interested to do is just do a git clone of this project and just see how it implemented this object layer on top of this C library. And I'm sure there's some sample programs. I think I saw some sample programs. Oh, screen wait. I'm gonna do screen shutdown. Now I'm going to try to compile this. Let's see if it does it. Oh, wow. Oh, wait a minute. Build is complete, but I need to, I believe, wow, it's so interesting. It didn't. So if you notice, there's this dependencies array where I'm sure I can put in the curses dependency, but I mean, it didn't even modify this thing. So if let's try running. Yeah, it doesn't have it as an option. So I honestly thought this would handle this, and said to do. Yeah, dependencies, curses. Oh, capital letters. Main dependencies and paths. I don't need to specify the path, so let's try it. Some issues. It did seem to identify where the project is in my .build checkouts curses directory. Let's go there. Yeah, what's in curses? Yeah, we got all this here. But what's it complaining about? It can't find these things. Can't find window in scope. Interesting. A lot of errors here, but it really can't find the window. So if I look at curses sources curses window.swift. It's doing it right here. Oh. Well, I wonder if I have to do something here, like maybe build it. There's also this make file, make Swift. But that's all stuff that I'm going to work out. I'm going to see if I can figure out what the story is with that. The documentation did say to just to do this, and that would be enough. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, I'm going to put this back into smaller mode and sign off from here. Yeah, that's a little. I think that's what my program size was. But this code is. Oh, let me pop it into. This code is now on GitHub, so you can go and take a look. I've not committed or added I've not added or committed the change to bring in this curses thing. Let me go and experiment with that, and maybe I'll know more in the next session. Thanks very much for checking this out, and we'll catch everybody next time.